Hello again, fourth graders, and welcome to our second session of our Unit 4 writing journey. Today, our lesson is called Gathering Writing by Studying Characters. If you're listening and watching this at home, obviously you are there, so I want you to think about a person that might be at home, such as mom or dad, or if you want to think about your teacher, or if you want to think about our principal, that would work here too, depending on, again, where you're listening and watching this particular program. Think about all the little details about Mr. Nelson that help make us to know what he is like as a person. And again, if you're doing this at home, what details make up mom or dad? What kind of details make up the person that you're thinking about? It can be about any person. Well, writers, here's my point. That is exactly what it is like for thoughtful readers when they meet a new character in this story. There's a lot to think about, isn't there? Today I want to teach you that skilled readers of fiction pay attention to the characters in a story, and they especially pay attention to the main characters' traits, motivations, struggles, changes, and life lessons. Think about something you would consider yourself an expert in. The author Malcolm Gladwell says that the secret to being an expert who can understand things in a blink lies in the fact that experts know which features of the subject merit attention or require attention. This is true for expert readers too. When reading fiction, it pays to think about the characters in general, and specifically, it pays to think about the characters' traits, motivations, struggles, changes, and relationships. Now, it is easier to say this than to do it, because don't just come right out and say dogs' characters' traits are, dogs' motivations and hopes are. Well, instead, readers need to pay close attention to details that reveal a character's traits, motivations, struggles, changes, and relationships. We're going to look back at Fox again today and see if this time, as we read closely, we can grow ideas about dogs' traits, motivations, struggles, changes, and relationships. So now it's your turn. I'm going to read on, and this time, think and listen closely as we think about what details of the text show about Magpie. Fox. Well, after the rains, when saplings are springing up everywhere, a fox comes into the bush. Fox with his haunted eyes and rich red coat. He flickers through the trees like a tongue of fire, and Magpie trembles. Might remember Magpie the bird. But Dog says, "Welcome. We can offer you food and shelter." "Thank you," says Fox. "I saw you running this morning. You looked extraordinary." Dog beams, but Magpie shrinks away. She can feel Fox staring at her burnt wing. In the evenings, when the air is creamy with blossom, Dog and Magpie relax at the mouth of the cave, enjoying each other's company. Now and again, Fox joins in the conversation, but Magpie can feel him watching, always watching her. And at night, his smell seems to fill the cave, a smell of rage and envy and loneliness. Magpie tries to warn Dog about Fox. "He belongs nowhere," she says. "He loves no one." But Dog says, "He's all right. Let him be." That night, when Dog is asleep, Fox whispers to Magpie, "I can run faster than Dog, faster than the wind. Leave Dog and come with me." Magpie says, "I will never leave Dog. I am his missing eye, and he is my wings." Fox says no more that night. But the next day, when Dog is at the river, he whispers to Magpie, "Do you remember what it is like to fly? To truly fly?" Again Magpie says, "I will never leave Dog. I am his missing eye, and he is my wings." But later that day, as Dog runs through the scrub with Magpie on his back, she thinks, "This is nothing like flying. Nothing!" And when at dawn Fox whispers to her for the third time, she whispers back, "I am ready." So while Dog sleeps, Magpie and Fox streak past coolabah trees, rip through long grass, pelt over rocks. Fox runs so fast that his feet scarcely touch the ground, and Magpie exults, "At last I am flying! Really flying!" Fox scorches through woodlands, through dusty plains, through salt pans, and out into the hot, red desert. He stops, scarcely panting. There is silence between them. Neither moves, neither speaks. Then Fox shakes Magpie off his back as he would a flea, and pads away. He turns and looks at Magpie, and he says, "Now you and Dog will know what it is like to be truly alone." And then he is gone. In the stillness, Magpie hears a faraway scream. She cannot tell if it is a scream of triumph or despair. Magpie huddles, a scruff of feathers adrift in heat. She can feel herself burning into nothingness. It would be so easy just to die here in the desert. But then she thinks of Dog waking to find her gone. Slowly, jiggity-hop, she begins the long journey home. We think about this story and think about the details of the text that show about Magpie. Obviously, Magpie is very caring, isn't she? She's always caring about whoever cares for her, and she puts those caring feelings ahead of a lot of other things. And in this case, she believed in Fox, and Fox ultimately took her out to the desert and was going to leave her there. And yet here, even at the end of the story, Magpie cannot forget about her friend, the dog. And so she tries to turn around even with her hurt leg, her hurt wing, and is starting slowly, jiggity-hop, the long journey home. Today, fourth graders, and whenever you want to grow ideas about stories, it helps to remember that expert readers know the features of stories that are worth attention. So today, for your writing lesson, I want you to choose one text, either from your bin if it's here at school, or if you're working at home, the recent text that you've been reading from the last several days, that will be the focus of your first literary essay. Once you have chosen, I want you to do this work. Focus on growing your ideas about a character's traits, motivations, struggles, changes, and relationships. And be sure to write these ideas in your notebook. When I say notebook, we of course are talking about your writer's journal. The share is today. I would like to take our share time to ask a few students to share with the whole class the thinking they were doing about their characters today. Obviously, again, if you're doing this at home, if you can share this with a parent, brother or sister. But for our writing, as I send you off today, in your writer's journal, using one of your books that you recently read, choose a character, and let's talk about those struggles, those motivations, those characteristics that make the character what he or she truly is. And today we read, and yesterday too, the story about Fox, including the fox, Magpie, and of course Dog. So they can be animal characters if that's the kind of book you're reading. If you're reading a fiction book that you have a human character, you can use that instead. So as I send you off, I'd like you to write at least a paragraph or a couple of paragraphs about a character. Talk about their struggles, their motivations, what motivates them in the story that you were reading. I wish you well, and please get started.